Fish heads, it's time for another edition of the hottest new podcast on all platforms, Fat Fish. Sit back and strap yourself in for the wildest ride on the open seas. Now, flap your fins for the fabulous Fat Fish brothers, Eric Fish Snyder and Brad Grunny Grunberg, a.k.a. Snap.
What's up, buddy?
Show number what? 33. We have so many shows that we do that we get a little discombobulated, but I think we're around 33. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's number. What do you think?
I think so. The big sky hook, baby. The big sky hook.
The big sky hook. Yeah. I mean, I just like looking at this logo that was made up for us is just so enlightening. I love looking at it, but I'd rather look at you and hey, we made it to another Monday. What can I tell you, man? The weekend was great. Baseball playoffs, the NFL. I mean, I'm just what about you?
Let's give a shout out to the man who designed that logo, your son, Max. Come on now.
He's working hard. He works at Blueprint Productions, and he's working on the Formula One is having a big race here in Las Vegas right around your birthday when you're here.
Yeah.
To hang out with the Fishman and meet Carrot Top. So he's working on that, and then he's just brilliant in designing, and he's going to help us out as we move along this venture. What's new? I have to ask you something. You're driving a lift, and it looks like negotiations are picking up with the strike. We can get into that later. But I asked you something that in a rehearsal, and I said, you know what? I'll bring it on the show. When you drive your lift and you pick up a customer or a client, whatever you call them, and you drive by a fast food place that you longer for, like Carl's Jr., Wendy's.
I know where this is going.
Do you ask them to tip you by going through the drive-thru and buying you food?
No. Well, all right, just one time. Yeah. They were hungry too, and I said, I did go through it fast. The guy goes, "Hey, man, you want something?" I go, yeah. So I ordered his stuff, and then I ordered a little something for me. All right, a lot for me. But by the way, yesterday, today is Monday, but Sunday, I went and watched a little football at this new, it's a reboot of this legendary bar called San Francisco Saloon. And now they redid everything in it. It's unbelievable. I mean, state of the art, everything. It's called Rose Gold Saloon. And it's wonderful. And when you come into town, I'm going to take you there. Great food, great staff, great TVs, great fun. So I just want to give a shout out to Rose Gold Saloon.
Okay. The San Francisco Bar and Grill, you're talking about Pico and Sawtell. It's one of the first dates I had with my wife. This is totally not scripted.
Oh, my goodness.
And we went, there's a great Chinese restaurant across the street. Now it's called Chengdu, but it was called the Chungking Inn. Been there. Our grandparents ate there. So talk about bringing back a lot of nostalgia and history for the Fishman. So the San Francisco Bar and Grill, as all our LA listeners and viewers will attest to, had a green building. They keep the same green building?
No. I mean, it still looks the same, but from the outside, they redid everything. They redid, I mean, soup to nuts, inside and out. It is really, the only thing they kept was the chandeliers. They're the same chandeliers and the lights that they had in the San Francisco Saloon. But I'm telling you, it's really good. And we got to go there as maybe if you come in with the wifey poo, we'll go there and have some laughs.
Maybe we'll get Chinese food across the street and then go over there and have some laughs. I mean, it's great. That, the regentrification of my hometown and where you live right now, that area, Culver City is amazing what's going on over there. You were picketing over there by the Amazon studios, and that neighborhood 25 years ago, you really didn't want to walk into.
Right.
Absolutely. I love the fact that cities now, there's regentrification going on in Oakland, which is phenomenal, and Frank Yule's Plaza, Jack London Square. I mean, it's good to see cities that have some inner cities with problems are starting to get some funding and great housing, great restaurants going up, and that's a positive. And in a world right now that's just going haywire. I mean, I got to ask you this. I don't know about you're the caretaker for our new listeners and viewers, Brad is a caretaker for his 91-year-old father, and your mother's in her late 80s.
No, she's 82. Mom's 82.
82. Okay, looks good. She's goddamn. She looks young, and Jerry's great, the dad. My wife, Vicky, is addicted to the news, and she watches it and starts crying. I cannot watch the news anymore because it's so goddamn depressing. On the other hand, Brad, I want to say how you feel about this. Get a little serious in the moment. You have to know what's going on in the world to really get any kind of conversation about what's going on in the world. Do your parents watch the news? Do you watch the news, or you just go to your phone?
My parents watch TV all day. I watch religiously Lester Holt, Channel 4, NBC. I watch it every night because I like him, and he gives me what I need to know. It's so graphic, and it's so sad what's going on from Ukraine to Israel to a lot of other places. The hate I've never seen in my life. I'm 35. But no, I've never seen in serious note hate that's going on in the world. I mean, we're talking evil, and what they're doing to one another. It's unbelievable. I mean, I've always subscribed to the idea that if we all did a little something in our lives for just out of the goodness of our heart, not wanting anything back, this world will be a much better place. Don't you agree?
Oh yeah, that's what attracted you as a friend to me is just I watched your philanthropy almost 30 years ago, and one of your great friends, Lauren Francesca, he did a podcast with is infant for saying Brad will get $200 in residual check and go to McDonald's and get hamburgers and give them to the homeless. You can be as jocular as you are and funny, but that's something that is a great trait that you have, and it's a virtue. There's a movie called War of the Worlds. It was one with Gene Barry back in '58, and the remake I thought was great with Tim Robbins and Tom Cruise. Did you see it?
No, I didn't. But I know the movie.
Classic.
Yeah.
2005 it came out, but there's a line by Tim Robbins, and aliens come and attack us, and they're taking over the world. And they're in a bunker, and he looks at Tom Cruise, Tim Robbins, and he says, "Do you know why they're attacking us?" He goes, "They've been studying us for hundreds of years, and they can't understand why we do evil to each other and we kill each other. So they're going to help us do it because their planet lost its natural resources and they needed a place to live." And you're right. Can our podcast provide a little light and laughter for those? Hopefully, if not, just looking at that pun of yours and those pictures of B-list and C-list actors in back of you, that adds laughter in my life. But you're right. I go, Vicky, you have to watch the news. She watches the news. I'll give a plug. She watches the ABC Evening News with David Muir, the national news. You're watching Lester Holt. Now, Channel 4 here in Vegas is Channel 3. So is Channel 7 still ABC in Los Angeles?
Yeah. We have David Muir. My mom watches David Muir. She loves it.
Yeah. And they're great. It's great. But let's give some light in the world. And that funny story from the bar. Couple comes in, and I work at Chuck's Tavern on North Durango, and I have a really nice bar going Wednesday. A lot of industry people, which is great. It means bartenders and people that work in the casino. And a couple comes in, right? And I could tell it's either a Match.com date or it's a first date, okay? But one of them farts, okay?
Oh boy.
And I'm talking to them, and the smell is so egregious it comes over the bar.
Oh boy.
I don't know why the guy, and the guy's a heavy. I don't know why the guy. I brought this up on P-Read podcast because if you go to a movie theater and you smell a fart and you're sitting next to a pretty girl, right? You're getting blamed, Brad. I'm sorry. That's just the way. That's just human nature. So, the guy, I assume the guy did it. She goes to the bathroom and comes back and she goes, "Wow." He goes, "I'm so sorry for that." I thought that was so classy that I fell in love with the girl, a little chubbiness. And I said, and they had a great, great first date. They got some oyster shooters. They had some shots. They got some clams. Oh, and I hope it ended up, with better smells later on.
I want to ask you a little something. I got a couple of texts on John Orlando's podcast, Action Junkies. It's amazing.
Great. Great.
Him and Mr. Lieben, his sidekick, asked me this question. how did you lose your virginity? Okay. And I have a great story, and I want you to tell your story of when you lost your virginity. So I'll start. So it was, I was 17 years old, the University of Arizona. And it was a Friday night. I ordered a Domino's surprise, and I was going to watch Letterman. And all of a sudden, my friend Big Joe Desick from Texas comes running down Kaibab Pachuca looking for 309 Buzz 2. That was me. And he opens the door. He goes, Grunny, we gotta go. We gotta go. I go, what are you doing? I go, I just ordered a Domino's. I'm going to watch Letterman. He goes, you don't understand. There's an all-campus party at Yavapai. I go, bro, I'll take a rain check. He goes, they're giving away free hats. Now, you have to understand something, Fish. For some reason, I was into hats when I was 17 years old. And I said, all right. So I went to my neighbors on the wing, and I said, hey, man, my Domino's is coming. You guys eat it. So I go to the party. We walk in, and it was like one of those motels, like it was like one of the older dorms. And in the middle of it, it was like an outside area right in the middle of all the rooms, kind of like an old motel, a centerpiece was like this vast area. And that's where the party was happening. I walk in, and this beautiful blonde is dancing with her friend on the dance floor, and she's staring in my direction. And Big Joe goes, bro, she's staring at you. And I look behind me. I thought she was looking at some other guy. She's looking at me. I couldn't believe it. So he goes, go up to her and ask her, to dance. So I go up, I go, would you like to dance? She pulls me on the dance floor to a fast song. She slow danced with me, and she starts to chew on my earlobe. Oh boy. That's my Fonzarelli button. That's my liver, man. You chew on my earlobe, even if you chewed on my earlobe, I might sleep with you. But she says, I got to go to the bathroom. She goes to the bathroom. She's so drunk. Okay. She's coming down the stairs after the bathroom. She slips and falls into a pile of mud. Okay. She was wearing an all white outfit. Everybody starts laughing at her. But of course, Sir Lancelot here helps her up, wipes her off. And she's so embarrassed. She goes, oh my God. She goes, let's get out of here. I go, okay. I say, let's get out of here. She says, so we're walking back to my dorm because her dorm was across the street. And I said, I'm a comedian. I make fun of myself all the time. Don't be embarrassed. It's okay. We've all been there. So I go, want to come to my dorm room? I'll show you some pictures. So we go into the dorm room. I start showing her some pictures. We start making out, blah, blah, blah. And my friend Matt told me, if you really want a girl, you put your hand down her pants. I don't even know why. So I tried to do that. She goes, no. I go, okay, fine. My parents taught me no one time is no. And I go, darn. But I was, I thought, all right, I made out with a beautiful girl, right? She goes, I got to go to the bathroom. So she goes to the bathroom, which is right in front of my dorm room, which I loved. Bathroom right in front of my dorm room. That's why I stayed there 3 years as a dorm rat. And I put on the outside for my roommate, a soft Rudner. I wrote, Uncle Charlie called, and I put a rubber band on the doorknob. That's an indication I got a girl in the room. So she comes back, and all of a sudden we start making out again. And all of a sudden I hear a soft with the key trying to get in. And I hear him go, oh my God. He leaves, goes next door. And then all of a sudden she takes off all her clothes. I go, oh my God, this could be it. I run to my dresser drawer, and I get my condom, and I'm like putting it on, and all of a sudden I kind of figure this out, and I kind of figure out where you put it, and I put it in there, and she's going, Gary, my name is Brad. Timmy, Todd, Steven. Never got my name. I walked her back to the dorm. She says, good night, Timmy. I swear to God, she didn't even know my name. Okay. Sent her flowers the next day, and I never saw her again. Her name was Cecilia. And boy, beautiful blonde, blue eyes. And I'm a boob man, huge real boobs. And that's the last time I got laid. Is that a great story?
When I was with her, Grunny. So she thought about you when she was with me.
Of course.
Mine wasn't the long dissertation that you just had. Mine, I'm 15, 16, working at McDonald's, and there's always a party after, we get off your shifts, and went to someone's house, and I had this crush on a girl. I won't mention her name to be indiscreet, Diana. And we're both, I think she's 16, I'm 15, and started making out, and we get into the act, and it was great. When you're that age, you're making out and you perform the act, you fall in love. It's like the book Catch-22. The main character of the movie Catch-22, Yossarian, fell in love with every girl that he got laid with, right? Fell in love with this girl because I'm 15 and she's 16. It was great. Oh my God, I can't believe this. I got laid. Found out about 2 months later, right? Because we both worked at McDonald's, but she didn't go to the same high school. She's a lesbian.
Oh,
so I want to know if she was a lesbian before that, or I was so bad in bed that she turned into a lesbian.
I talked to Diana. She said she was straight, and then you turned her to the lady pond. You're unbelievable. You turn a lot of people other ways. That's what I like about you. Yeah. By the way, I'd like to give a big shout out to Big Joe Desick from Texas, because if he didn't take me to that all-campus party, I still might be a virgin today.
Right. Well, look, the great thing about what the kids have nowadays is that we didn't have. We've talked about this on previous podcasts, but it's still apropos. Is the only way we met a girl or a girl met a guy was going to a party, got set up, a work relation, school. That's it. If you and I went to Mom's Saloon back in 1985 and we hung out there and the place was dead that night, God forbid, right?
Right.
You couldn't get on your phone and text someone and say, "What are you doing over at Q?" Remember Q's over there on Wilshire and Barrington? What are you doing at Q's? What are you doing at the gas lamp? You had to physically get in your cars and go to these establishments. So right now it's a lot easier with all the .coms. Everyone knows about Tinder. You're on it, Brad. My God, you're the king of Tinder. It's a hookup site.
All the Match.com. By the way, I just had lunch with Chad Savage, great producer, writer, great guy. I've known him a long time. And I was talking to him about you, and I said, you and your uncle started Mom's Saloon. He goes, "Oh, bro, that was my jam. I lived in there." And I mentioned you, and he goes, "Oh my God, that was the best bar." He goes, "I tapped so many things in there. I had the best time of my life." He's a great guy. And he's from Santa Monica, born and raised in Santa Monica. So
that's the greatest name for two reasons. Santa Monica. Yeah. Chad Savage sounds like, one, a porn star, or two, he was on the surf circuit in 1979 to 83 in the Kaanapali Coast, with Lance Summers and
oh my God,
Chad Savage. What a great name!
Is that great?
You got to be a good-looking dude. You can't be a Chad Savage and look ugly. You can't. Is he a good-looking guy?
This guy's handsome. This guy's a handsome guy, and he's really funny. Great writer and great producer. He's just a great guy, And when he told me he went to Mom's Saloon as a kid, I'm like, bro, I know the man himself. One of the greatest bartenders in the world.
Thank you. But that's a topic I want to bring up, is that my wife doesn't complain to me, but she says, "You always live in the past and you always bring up nostalgic things from the past." And I say to you, Brad, I'm asking you as a friend, is that so bad if your past was great and you have great memories of your past?
That's funny you say that, because people say, you have a great memory. You're living back in the 80s and this and that. I go, bro, I've had a great life. Okay. I'm the luckiest, most blessed guy on earth. That's why I take care of my mom and dad, because they gave me the greatest life. So if you didn't have a great life and you can't bring up the past, I have nothing to do with you, buddy, because it's great telling these stories. I mean, everybody has stories, and it's sad because some of the people that I run with, I would bring up something that we did. They go, "I don't remember that." I go, "Wow, well, I do, and this is what happened, and we did this." And I go, "Wow." So we're both lucky that we have great memories. I mean, I'm telling you, it's fun.
Keep it.
Isn't it fun? Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing too. And if you look at your life, and this is not to discredit anybody or put anyone down, but you look at your life as a bartender for almost 43 years, you, Holly Tropicana, your acting, your great stories about being in college. There are people that have put on a shirt and a tie, and they have the pencil thing, and they go to their job the last 30 years, and they sit in a cubicle. And what stories do they have other than maybe some, I figured out how to use a protractor today, and today I did some an abacus and figured out some stuff for my job. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to be arrogant here. I think if you have great stories from the past, share them.
Absolutely. No.
That story about my dad, we talked about a couple. I could not believe the response I got.
Oh, it's great.
Your girlfriend jerked off your dad and you allowed it? I said, yes. And they go, so the guy come do the face. I mean, that's a great memory. Well, you embarrassed the memory of your dad. Bullshit. I didn't embarrass the memory of my dad. I love my dad so much that it showed that, hey, you know what? I took him for the team. I didn't want to lose my girlfriend, number one. She's drop dead gorgeous, come on. Right. My girlfriend looked like Mark Davis's girlfriend. That's what Nadia looked like. Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders, is dating like this 25, looks like a 25-year-old Russian model. Wait,
your girlfriend looked like Mark Davis? I'm sorry.
Mark Davis is dating this drop dead gorgeous. When you watch the Raider game Sunday, or when you watched the Raider game yesterday, did you see him in the booth? Hey, a picture of him in the booth with.
I know what you.
I don't know. I didn't watch the whole thing. I don't. I'm always circling on the goddamn. I don't always watch my head. I'm so into the game that oh God, please get the first down. It's like you doing that 7-minute dissertation of getting laid. How am I going to pull this off? She has to fall in the mud first.
No, but
let me ask you this.
No. Let me
remember.
I'm going to ask you something before you go on. You talk about great memories and we share our great lives with each other. Money doesn't buy happiness. Okay. I have a lot of friends with millions of dollars and they look at me and they go, you had balls to be an actor. You live your life. I wish I could live your life. And, I'm telling you, because money creates more problems for you. You know what I'm saying? If you like, for instance, if somebody is an asshole before they become successful, and they make it, they become a bigger asshole. If somebody is kind and generous and nice and they make it, they become bigger, nicer, more generous, and I've seen it. I
agree. I mean, I'm not wealthy. I'm wealthy. I go by a credo. Your health is your wealth. Mm-hmm. You actually taught me that one. That's an excellent thing to go by. I'm comfortable. Yeah, but I've never been wealthy, but you try and be a good person, and again, you live in a world right now. It's so stressed. I look at my wife and I said, "Come on, stop watching David Muir. I know you think he's hot, whatever, but there's nothing he's going to tell you until the last 2 minutes about America Strong." And he shows a dog that pulled a wagon of 2 kids that have Down syndrome. That's great, but the first 28 minutes of the fucking show is horrible: death, destruction, maiming, rapes, vulgar shit. All right, and I want to segue into this. When I try and give advice at the bar, they say to me, "Fish, you act young, but we know you're in your 60s. What advice can you give?" And I said, "It's real simple. It's a cliche. Life. There's so much drama in your life that you can't control. Your health. You could have your prostate's big and you pee a lot. All right, or you get a flat tire and you miss an audition. Those are things that you can't control. The stupid drama about fighting with your in-laws and this one talk to your baby mom and all that. Who cares? Who cares? People are dying around the fucking world right now that would love to have your drama. Am I right?
Absolutely. People don't know how blessed they are until, God forbid, something bad happens. I mean, I got rid of a lot of people in my life, okay, because they were toxic, they were jealous, they brought me down. I only want to surround myself with love, positivity, and laughs. I mean, and you know what? I had to let them go because you know what? When it's all said and done, you want that group to be people that have your back, that love you unconditionally. And you do, Fish, and that's why I love you. I mean, and as you get older, that circle of friends becomes smaller and smaller. That's just life. No, I'm telling you, buddy.
I don't know about that. I'm meeting new people all the time, and I get great stories, and I get insight. Some of the young people have a lot of insight. What they don't have, and I'm going to piss some listeners and viewers off, is I like to play the oldies sometimes on my shift. I'm not kidding you. A kid asked me, was Elvis Presley as big as Bruno Mars?
Oh, wow.
Now, here's how I handled that. This kid loves Bruno Mars, and Bruno Mars is a tremendous talent.
I've seen him.
Okay.
He's incredible. Yes.
Incredible performer and a great guy. When he comes to town, you talk to people that work in the high limit rooms. Yeah. He's throwing chips like crazy. And he's a wonderful human being. But I said this. If Bruno Mars, 60 years after he starts in the business, is still selling albums at a platinum level, we'll know. Okay. Right. We're losing in this generation the part of transparency that says you have to know your history about what's going on in the history of your country, in the history of your music, the history of your sports. Okay. Because before there was a LeBron James, who's a phenomenal basketball player, right? There was a Magic Johnson and a Kobe Bryant. And before them, you and I remember two guys. Oh my God! What about Jerry West and Pete Maravich? And then about Michael Jordan and Larry Bird? And you go back and back and back. And I'll lead you to this question. Don't you hate it? My dad did this, rest in peace. He would say to me, he said, I don't give a shit what you think about Walter Payton and Emmitt Smith and Barry Sanders. There wasn't a greater running back than fucking Jim Brown. I hate it when people compare other eras in sports, don't you?
Yeah, because it's a different time. Like, Michael Jordan could beat Michael Jordan or LeBron James. There's nothing like for me, there was nothing better than Showtime Lakers. Okay. Michael Cooper on a lockdown. You're not scoring if Michael Cooper is in your face. I mean, Deion Sanders, great coach. He was unbelievable prime time. If he was on your side of the field, forget it. You might as well just walk back in the locker room because you're not catching shit. That's the thing. You got to know your history. And by the way, speaking about history, I was watching FS1, Fox Sports 1, and they showed 2004 Boston Red Sox. Down 3-0 to the Yankees, baby, and hadn't won a World Series since 1916 or something. All the stuff, the GOAT, Babe Ruth, all that stuff. And they never gave up. And my hero, and I hope he stays a Dodger forever, Dave Roberts. Doesn't steal that base. They lose the World Series, right? And he was a Dodger. By the way, he was a Dodger. They traded him mid-season to Boston. Great. I mean, that's what we need more of. I agree with you, Fish.
Well, we need more sports. We need entertainment. You'll get back to working soon. And sports is something that brings families together. You watch the baseball playoffs as we speak with your dad, Jerry. And you've done that for 40, 50 years, My dad passed away 15 years ago, but I watch almost every Raiders game or go to with my son, kind of a passage of rights that is, and to share that. And that's what sports is all about. You probably remember going to Dodger Stadium with your brother and your dad when you were kids, right? And can we get a pennant? And the Dodger dogs, everything about that is so special. Are we losing that? Are we losing that because the average price of tickets for sporting events is insane right now? It's insanity.
It's interesting you say that. On Sunday, next Sunday, I am going to a Ram game. And let me tell you something. The tickets are, astronomical, crazy. I don't even know how people can afford to go to a game, for the tickets, the parking, the food. You bring a family of four, you're spending $400 or $500 sometimes, right?
More than that.
Yeah, more than
that. The tickets are $300. So that's $1,200. Yeah. Parking's $100.
Yeah.
There's no parking in these. What they did with these new stadiums, and it's smart, is they did no big parking lots. It's all, so you got to take public transportation or drive down and pay $100 if you want to park in these places. So, So when we circle back and talking about our past, I think some of our listeners and viewers are jealous that in our past, we can go to a football game for $30 and sit in a 42-yard line.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And you know what? The game's better now because the level of athletes are better. But I'll tell you what, you brought up two guys earlier just now. You brought up Magic Johnson and Showtime, and you brought up Deion Sanders. The great ones, do you agree with this, Brad? The great ones, like those two guys you just mentioned, could play in any era and succeed. If Magic played today in the NBA, could you imagine him with your Warriors?
Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, Magic Johnson, look, right out of Michigan State. He was incredible. I mean, I'll tell you something. Everybody says, Michael Jordan and this guy and that guy, but you have to understand, LeBron is in his generation. Michael Jordan was in his generation, and it's very hard to compare these guys because in their prime, if they went nose to nose, what would happen, right? I mean, it's crazy, but listen, that's a great argument. People love to talk sports and talk. Oh, this guy's better than that guy. He would wipe the floor with him. All that kind of stuff. So
well, and the other thing is this: my dad and I would talk about championships, and their football is so unforgiving. Two of the best quarterbacks that ever played this game. If you could funnel these two guys into one man, and I'm talking about two guys from the 80s, Jim Kelly of the Buffalo Bills and Dan Marino were phenomenal football players. Multiple Pro Bowls, both went to Super Bowls, but never won. And they're such competitors. They've been interviewed recently. And Jim Kelly, God bless his soul, has had some health issues, and he's a fighter. And love this guy. And Marino, and they said every single day, they think about the Super Bowls that they lost. Every day, every minute. Mm-hmm. And when you're a competitor, I want to ask you this. When you're a competitor like that and you take it, you're in your 60s, you're thinking, God, if I did this and I relived that. Do you as an actor, do you relive the auditions that you didn't get and said, what if I would have got that? And the person that got it became a star in that show. I think does every actor go through that? Or is there so much work that you don't give a shit?
I like to see who got the part. I always like to watch it because, but here's my advice and my show business acting 101 class to actors. You got to go in and do what you do. Okay. You got to make a choice. I'm going to go left. I'm going to go right. Don't go straight. You do what your interpretation of the part. Okay. You maybe ad lib a line here and there. Like I'll give you an example. Curb Your Enthusiasm. I walked in and I told my buddy who runs selftape.com. He's the greatest. His name is Steven. He said to me, I'm going to be Larry David. I go, this is what we're going to do. You're going to play Larry David. I'm going to play Jonas the Roofer guy, and I'm going to get this part. You hear me, motherfucker? And he's like, okay. And I go, we're going to do it until we get it right. And I did it. And the way I got the part at the end was an improv. And by the way, everything is improv on the show. They give you a premise and you go. And that's something that I've been gifted with in my life. Improv, comedy. That's what I do. And my last line was after coming and I'm going to fix your roof and all that. I go, oof, Larry. Oh boy. I had a big breakfast buffet. Can I use your bathroom? And I walk right by the camera. Okay. And Jeff Schaefer, the director, the executive producer, and he's Larry's right-hand guy. He said to me, he goes, that got you the part. Okay. Luck and timing have a lot to do with acting. Being at the right place at the right time, reading for the right part. And God bless Bruce Willis. Okay. He's a perfect example. They wanted all these other guys for Die Hard. I was in the commissary at 20th Century Fox when they made that film. And all these guys, all these big time actors, Tom Cruise, all these guys they wanted for John McClane, right? John McClane. And he got it and it made him and he made him a star. I mean, Moonlighting set the table, but Die Hard made him a star, right? Luck and timing. Other guys turned it down. That's what I love when you go to big time actors, they go, what part do you wish you had? Just the same question you just asked me. And they go, oh, I tried out for, like John Travolta will say, I tried out for this show, this movie and that movie, and I didn't get this and I couldn't do that. And I turned this down. They turn down roles that become monster hits. So I just say you go with your gut. Luck and timing has a lot to do with life too, by the way. Look at us. We reconnected after all these years.
You tell before we get to our segment of Brad's take on Fish's stupid memes. I tell one of the most endearing, sensitive, tear-jerking films that I saw of this year was called The Whale. And tell the process of you auditioning and how you almost, even though Brendan Fraser did a phenomenal job and he won the Academy Award for it, you were up for that, weren't you?
I had, 3 or 4 auditions, and then I finally got to read for the director. And I was so committed to the role, I walked in my underwear, okay? And I sat in the chair, and I was heavier than I am now, and I started sweating. Surprise, I was sweating. but I was so into that part. And it was between me and another guy. And then they brought Brendan Fraser in, who had the cachet of being a star. But I was told by my agent they really wanted me, but I wasn't big enough of a star. But I committed. I mean, I literally walked in my underwear and I sat.
Well, you were
there.
big enough.
Oh no, trust me. Yeah, they would probably add on, like for instance, in I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry. I put on the fat suit, the same fat suit that the movie Fat Albert.
Oh, kidding me? Eddie Murphy.
Oh no. That was Fat Albert was with Keenan. Keenan from
Keenan.
Yeah.
I know you're talking about
Yeah,
Keenan.
from
Keenan and Kel. Yeah.
Keenan and Kel. Keenan Thompson. He played Fat Albert, and I put on his fat suit, and I went into, great story. I put on the fat suit. I walked into Adam Sandler's office at the Judy Garland building at Sony Studios, and I looked at him. He looked at me, and I knew his manager very well, Sandy Wernick, fantastic guy, and he got me in there. And I looked at him, and I started going like this in the fat suit. Baruch hu Adonai Hamivora. He did exactly what you're doing. Cracked up, hit the floor. He goes, "Brad, you got the part." And I walked out. That's all I did. I didn't read the lines. I didn't do anything. That's all I did, and I got the part.
For a Hindu, you speak very good Hebrew. That's fantastic. That's part of your method. I swear to God. How many languages do you speak? Well, Carl's Jr., Wendy's. What other ones?
May I take your order? I'll have a double number 2. I have a funny bit. My writing partner Sean White and I, we go and he works at Burlstein Partners, and we go for we have a lunch. We take an hour for. He gets an hour for lunch, so I pick him up and we go out to believe me, a fast food place, Carl's Jr. He likes the Big Carl number 6.
No.
Or we go to McDonald's, or we go to Jack in the Box, and we talk our business. But I thought, God, I always goof on, when I go drive through, I always goof on the person I'm talking to. Always. I start going off on tangents like, good luck on finals. Have a good summer. Don't forget, sign my yearbook. I hope we have classes in the fall. And they're looking at me like, what? And then they finally see me, when I come around to get my food, and they're like, I go, oh, am I attractive? Can we go out? And it's like, a 60-year-old woman, who's right at Carl's Jr. She called the police on me but that's another story. No, but I just goof on people all day long. That's what I do. I like making people laugh, and I can make a living at it. So I'm very blessed. So
you are.
Sure, yeah.
I would suggest, I don't know what Sean looks like, but I would suggest on one of these forays that you get an hour lunch, try a salad bar. I mean,
well, what's that?
Exactly. I mean, is it always fast? Is it always fast food? Always?
Yeah, it is. I mean, listen, somebody has to keep these places in business, right? And by the way,
I'll be honest with you. Before we get to our memes, I'm driving around running some errands, and all of a sudden I see a taco. I haven't had Taco Bell. I went in there and I ate that Taco Bell like it was the first meal I've had after being in the desert without any food or water for 2 weeks.
How good was it?
I got the chicken burrito supreme and 3 hard tacos with that fire sauce.
Wow!
Oh my God! Fun. Look at you. You're ovulating. So let's
wait. The fire sauce? I love the ass.
I love hot. I'm a hot guy.
Oh my God! So you sit on the toilet and your ass catches on fire. I mean, you must go right to the toilet. Oy, really?
Nah, that's not me. Actually, my constitution's pretty good as far as, but it's not ever incendiary from that. It's just I have a wonderful constitution. So that being said, we're gonna do a couple of football.
Whatever that means.
This is the Dallas Cowboys played the 49ers a couple of weeks ago. Check out the Dallas Cowboy, what he's doing to the 49er.
Let's see.
Can you see that?
Oh,
that's great.
That's funny. Oh, and he's looking down like, what the fuck are you doing?
I think that was on Sunday Night Football, and Mike Tirico said, "Well, I don't know you that well, but this is a PG-rated TV show, you know."
That's funny.
I love it.
That's great.
And look at that ass whooping the Dallas Cowboys got by that 49ers. All right, check this one out. Right now, the Kansas City Chiefs are big in the news because, one, they're a great football team, phenomenal organization, and we're sick of the bullshit with the Swifties and Travis Kelce jerking himself off every restaurant in New York. We don't care about that.
Speak for yourself. Speak for yourself.
All right. Anyways, I like Patrick Mahomes. I'm a Raider fan, and I love Patrick Mahomes. I love his intensity. But he has a look-alike. And I think you worked with this person before. Look at the face.
Oh, my goodness.
That's Sarah Gilbert from Roseanne. Look at Mahomes' face and look at hers.
Oh my
wow.
goodness. That they're twins. Yeah.
You see the resemblance?
Separated at birth. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's funny.
We talk about the past a lot. I'm going to give you a story. Let me get there first. Let me hang on. No, not that. Right here. Oh. You could only bring one for a concert. You got Elvis, you got John Lennon, you got Frank Sinatra, and you got Barry White. I'll go first. I bring back Barry White. I met Barry White at Fatburger in Westwood. I know you've been there. In 1976, I'm at Fatburger with my best friend, Craig Persky. I bring him up all the time. We still talk every day. Big fan of the show. And we're waiting in line. And if you've ever heard Barry White sing, he's got the most low, my name is Barry White, like that.
Yeah.
And here I want to order from 16, and I'm going to break. I'm working at a joint called Miller's Outpost in Westwood. Closed joint,
I know.
Usually 501 jeans. That I don't think they have Brad's size. There. That's another story.
They didn't have my size, but I know the place.
This is what came out of Barry White's mouth, and I remember it like it was yesterday. Hey, brother, let me get a double egg king chili cheese with extra onions, extra tomatoes, extra pickles. Put some of that avocado shit on there and slap it on. And I just love this music. Well, who do you bring back if I bring back
Barry White? I love Barry White because Barry White was on one of my favorite shows, and I got to be on the show, David E. Kelly's Ally McBeal. He was on the show. Oh, yeah.
Love Kalista Fuck.
Big Barry White fan.
Big crush.
Big Barry White.
Who would you bring back for a concert?
Can you let me answer the question? Can I answer the question? Is that okay, my friend? I love you. I saw Frank Sinatra in concert twice. I took my family to the Greek, and we watched Pia Zadora open, Don Rickles middle, and Big Frank close it out. Elvis, man. I love Elvis because there was just something about him. He was a star, But I would have to say, and John Lennon, what a legend. Left us way too soon. I would have to say Elvis. There's something about Elvis I love, He was just so cool, He was just so effing cool. It's between him and Frank. I love Barry White too, but I wasn't at Fatburger with him in Westwood.
That was great. Speaking of two of those guys, George Carlin started his concert out in like 1980. I was there at the Forum, and when he comes out on stage, he just looks at the audience for like 5 minutes, and everyone starts laughing because the first thing that ever comes out of his mouth is the funniest thing he's going to say for the next 10 minutes. He's looking around. There's 15,000 people at the Forum. He looks around and he says, I wonder if Frank Sinatra and Elvis, when they go to Vegas together, if they ever get laid. It's just a standard line, but we're all busting up laughing.
By the way, why don't you tell your George Carlin story from Mom?
Well, some other time. I want to move on with our memes. But John Lennon was a legend. Can you imagine?
That's a great story.
Could you imagine having 200 #1 songs for your own band and other people you write for, like Badfinger and Buddy Lee Ray? I mean, crazy. John Lennon, genius. All right, here's one up your alley, kid. Two of them.
French fries. Wow.
I'm a steak fry. I'm going for number 3. What's your favorite fry? Okay, we got the shoestring for our listening audience. Okay. We got the crinkle fries. This is a favorite fry. The steak fries, the curly fries, audience, the wedge fries, and the waffle. I love steak fries. What about you, Grunny?
By the way, last night I went to Rose Gold Saloon, as we were talking earlier, and they have the most delicious garlic fries that I have ever had, by the way. but I go for the number one. Well done. That's me. I like the original because my grandma loved McDonald's French fries because they are the best fries. If you ever want a fry, go to McDonald's. They really had the best fries. I would
I'll
say
tell you, it's great fries. Bring up fries. I think the garlic fries at Chuck's Tavern are phenomenal. It's like when people order, we're a fish house, but we have so many burgers and sandwiches, and we order sweet potato fries and all the different fries that you saw in that meme. But our garlic fries are so darn good. It's the number one fry that's ordered in a fish house. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that cool? And
I've been there. Yeah, I've had those fries. They're so good. But the bartender's so annoying. So you order like 2 fries, so you don't have to talk to the bartender. Oh, that's you. I'm sorry. Well, and you eat the fries.
I don't remember you talking because you're eating so much. You look like Fat Bastard in the Michael Myers.
By the way, I was
awesome. All right, this is
Denver.
Great. We got 2 more memes left. This one, and then we'll do the one that's going
to. For a second?
Say again.
I said I was in Gold Member with Mike Myers. My brother and I were in Austin Powers Gold Member.
Well, I have a Gold Member. Anyways.
Oh, I like
hey,
that. I hear that.
Can I go first in this next meme? I think if I go first, you're going to mimic.
I'm your sidekick. I'll put some cologne on.
What was your go-to self-made sandwich as a child? Okay. This is a lost art. Bologna with American cheese and mayonnaise. Did I get it?
Yes, that's what.
Is it sickening?
That's the one.
I want to hear comments. Go to fishgrunny1@gmail.com. If you're anywhere in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, where's bologna? Oscar Mayer bologna. You never see kids. You can't get bologna sandwiches in restaurants anymore. But bologna sandwich. How about this? Bologna sandwich
and cheese and mayo is also good. I like salami too.
Yeah.
Oscar.
Did your mom give you when you took your where did you go to like grade school? I know you went to Union High School. Where'd you go to grade school?
Well, by the way, before I answer that, the bread was always egg bread.
Yes,
that's what it was. Challah mayo, salami or bologna, American cheese. Oh, forget it.
So
right?
good.
Yeah,
and it's a lost art. It's gone.
I went to Roscomer Road Elementary School in Bel Air. That's where I went. And then I went to Emerson Junior High School, and then I went to University High School in West LA. Where did you go? Give me all 3.
Well, let me go back to the. I'm in witness protection. I can't tell you. Anyways,
oh my goodness.
When your mom made you a paper sack lunch when you went to grade school, there was a bologna sandwich on the challah with the mayonnaise and the piece of American cheese. Was there also like a bag of potato chips, like a Lay's potato chips?
Of course.
And there was always like a cinnamon roll or something. There's always something.
Or like a ding dong or a cookie.
Ding dong. That's it. That's my. You got it. It was a ding dong or a Twinkie. Yeah, talk about a cholesterol heaven right there. But that's the way we lived our lives, and there's little things like that made us happy. All right, we lose a lot of people in our lives, and then we lose people that because of the way they portrayed characters on the screen moves your heart. Okay, I'm going to show you a picture of a guy. I want you to go first and talk about this man. We lost Burt Young the other day at 83 years old. I don't know if you ever worked with him. There's Burt Young.
No.
Okay.
I wish I did.
That's him in the role of Paulie. He played Paulie in the infamous Rocky.
How
many Rockies there were? I think there's 5 or 6 of them. 5, and then Rocky Balboa.
And Creed, all that stuff. Yeah. Great movies. I mean, oh my God.
They were.
But Rocky 1 stands as my favorite movie of all time because I'm always the underdog. And I love the underdog that makes it. And
talk about Burt Young. Talk about that character.
As Rocky's best friend. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. And the anger. He had so much anger in him, and he was so jealous of his sister, who was this, just this demure little thing that was so introverted.
Yeah.
And he couldn't understand how his best friend's going out with his sister, and then he becomes if you haven't seen Rocky out there, listeners and viewers, Brad's 1,000% right. It's probably on everyone's list as one of the top 5 movies of all time. Feel good, tear-jerking story. But Burt Young, again, his picture, Brad, I mean, he had such an indelible impression on my life, which is why I get this actor strike over, because he did some roles. You talk about Burt Young, your favorite roles that he did, and I'll talk about mine.
Well, I will tell you one thing, a fun fact. Remember Rocky 1, the boxing scene against Apollo Creed? That is filmed at MGM, Sony, United Artists, where Adam Sandler had his offices for many, many, many years. But guess what they film on that stage now is Shark Tank. That's what they film in that stage where they did Rocky 1, the boxing, all the boxing stuff. And it's the biggest soundstage on the Sony lot. Just a fun fact. Burt Young, I loved him in Sopranos. He was unbelievable. Oh, so good. But he was, what was great? He really played himself. That was the great thing about him. And I love, okay, here's a guy, Kevin Costner, right? Is Kevin Costner a great actor? Maybe, but he plays himself so well. No Way Out. How great was he in No Way Out? So what I'm saying is, if you bring yourself to every role, it becomes more real and more likable.
Well, I love him in the first Rocky, but one of my favorite top 5 films of all time, if I went independent, if I went, the Sundance film type category for a film.
Independent.
There's a movie that came out in 1984 that I've seen probably 132 times. Everyone's got a movie, if they see it when they're doing the channel and it comes on, you start watching it again, and because you just loved it so much. Goodfellas, Godfather. Yeah. Mine is A Pope at Greenwich Village, and with Eric Roberts and Mickey Rourke, and Burt Young plays a mob boss called Bedbug Eddie, and he has a scene with Mickey Rourke that I know at the Strasberg Academy off Melrose, they would use that 6-minute scene when they're confronting each other over a theft. The dynamic and chemistry between Rourke and Burt Young, when you get good acting and you've been there, a tense scene is what you did in Shameless when you were a dick in that restaurant, Tammy Rossum, and treated her like shit. And what's going to happen? And you finally have a confrontation with Dermot Mulroney, who plays the manager. That's tension. The tension between Rourke and Burt Young in that scene is different than what you see in Burt Young in a lot of things that he plays himself. He plays Bobby Bacala's dad in Sopranos, who's a hitman who dies of emphysema, right? And then you see him in the Rocky movies. Please watch A Pope at Greenwich Village. It's one of the funniest, tear-jerking, fun films. And Burt Young, please rest in peace. Please go to wherever you actors go in heaven, and you can hang out and play any role that you want.
They're probably at Deli Heaven with my grandma, Helen Nanny Klein, and your grandma, and they're sending the soup back because it's not hot enough. But there was really a place called Deli Heaven at the University of Arizona, by the way. I used to go there all the time. Surprise. My favorite movie of all time, my top 5, 2 is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with John Candy. He's my favorite comic actor. But Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I was in high school, and I was coming back from basketball practice with my brother, and I was in my Datsun 200ZX, and I pull up to Barrington and San Vicente, and I saw all these trucks and Fazio Cleaners and Pioneer Chicken across the street, and all of a sudden I asked the crew guy, "Well, what are you filming here at All American Burger?" He goes, "Fast Times at Ridgemont High." I go, "What's that?" He goes, "Oh, you'll know." And I go, "Who's that star?" He goes, "Sean Penn." I go, "Who's that?" He goes, "Oh boy, you'll know." And I'm telling you something, buddy. You watch that, it stands the test of time. You agree?
Oh, yeah. I still quote lines from that. I mean, it's such cutting edge for 1982. If you haven't seen it, there's a scene where Phoebe Cates gets out of a pool and takes her top off, and there's no CGI. You see her mammary glands, and then Judge Reinhold plays one of the characters, and he's jerking off in the bathroom. That's all I gotta say. And you didn't do that back in 1982. I know it was the 80s, but I read a review of that movie in Variety. And one of the guy, Robert Romanus, played the Moan character for our audience out there, and said, huge star, superstar. Yeah. And they panned Sean Penn. They said, this is just a guy playing, it's so easy to play a stoner. And that's all he'll ever be typecast as. And you look at the history, what goes on from there. Romanus did some stuff and ended up opening up some restaurants. But I think Sean Penn did okay, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. It's funny you say that, because when Phoebe Cates got out of the pool, she says, "Hi, Brad. you know how cute I always thought you were. So I thought she was talking to me. So I was jerking off too. I just want you to know that, okay? Because my name is Brad. Nice to meet you.
Well, I not only that, you were probably the impetus for that scene. They say, Brad, how would you handle this in rehearsal? Well, I'm going to go into the bathroom, and she's going to catch me jerking off, and then I'm going to say, does anyone fucking knock anymore? Remember that?
Oh my good.
Oh, Brad, I love Sean. This is so much fun, man.
By the way, Sean Penn's audition for Spicoli. He walked in to producers and director, totally bombed. The casting director took him into another room and said, "What's your fucking problem? That sucked. I want you to work on the sides, and I want you to come back at the end when I bring in the last actor." He was in this other room in the casting office for probably an hour. He comes back in. First thing he does, he walks in, he takes his shirt off with his teeth. You know, when he walks into All American Burger, and that was it. He became Spicoli, and he got another shot. That's the thing. A lot of actors, they get the call back or the third call back or the fourth, and they fuck up. They don't get to come back in. But the casting director, great casting director, he passed away. I forgot his name, Mr. Phillips. Really good casting director that he saw something in Sean Penn and brought it back in. And let's be honest, that made his career. I mean, that's so legendary.
Started his career. It was great.
Jeff Spicoli, man.
Hey, we start this podcast off by talking about things, you know, and that my wife watching the news, and it's a Debbie Downer world sometimes. Well, let me tell you something that happened last weekend. We can't really talk about it again because it's over with, but the Nick Pasquale Foundation had a golf tournament down in San Clemente last weekend, and they raised a shitload of money to get young kids scholarships in this kid's honor who passed away tragically. So there's good people out there. Obviously, Mel and Lori Pasquale's brother, AJ, put the whole thing together. Bobby and Crystal Owens helped out. And I said, since I know these people, that Brad and I are going to shout this out because that's our type of philanthropy. But thank you for what you did in memory of your son. And now 10 or 15 kids that don't have the means to go to college are going to go to UCLA or some other kind of college. That's fantastic.
You know, but you know what's great about this? They're keeping this wonderful son alive, his memory alive, with something that's giving to people that don't have the means to go to college. And they keep doing this, and his memory will last forever. That's the beautiful part of this. I love it.
What do you think, Brad? Do you think it's time to enjoy? What are you going to do now? It's Monday. What are you going to do? It's 10, 11 o'clock. And you go. What's on your agenda?
Let's see. I went to Chick-fil-A this morning with Andy. Let's see. I might go. I don't know what I'm feeling like. I'm feeling. You know what I'm feeling? I'm feeling a McDonald's. I'm feeling a fillet of fish. I don't know why, but I'm feeling a fillet.
You know what you should do? You should go to McDonald's, since all these proprietors know you by first name, you know, and mention to them, if you want to see me on a more regular basis, get some garlic fries.
That's true. Oh, I'm telling you, when I come to Vegas for my birthday, and I'm going to have some of those garlic fries.
You're coming up.
I am, buddy. I'm looking.
What do you think, man? Get us out of here, mister.
Well, hey, 33 is in the books. Dave Linden, take us home, baby.
Love you, buddy.
Love you too. Good to see you.
You too.
See you next Monday.
You've been listening to the Fat Fish Podcast, heard on all your favorite platforms. Until next time.
Oh, man.